So going forward though, does this homeowner association, these 400 folks that are on the Zoom call, 200 folks in this room, do we have both of your guys' commitment that you are going to preserve single family neighborhoods, or you're looking to go into single family neighborhoods or additional to increase housing? Yes, no.
I'm not.
Yes, no.
I want to preserve single family homes.
Thank you. Thank you.
On this particular project?
Not on this particular project, going forward. On a go forward, let's put this project aside. Will you make a commitment right now to protect single family residents and not put upzoning in single family R zone neighborhoods?
We are under a state mandated replanning process. Hold on one second. Let me finish. We are under a state planning process. As long as we can meet the regulations of that state process and still preserve these neighborhoods, I am 100% fine with it. I just want to follow the law. That's all. Okay. If we don't follow the law, all of our state funding dries up, all of our resources dry up, all of our infrastructure resources dry up. So far, what the planning department has said is that we can do that through our new rezoning plan, that we can do this. And I'm fully supportive of that. Okay. That's all.
Do you support the re-election of George Gascon as district attorney?
Absolutely not.
Nithya?
I have not endorsed him in this cycle.
So that's a no?
May I ask a specific question? I'm wondering if you support 4118 around schools and daycares.
Already voted against it, you know, because it doesn't work. I mean, it's like, I don't think a kid's going to be safer because a tent is 500 feet away from a school. You know, it's like, whatever. It just doesn't.
Speaking of spending money, we have representatives from the LAPD here. Matt mentioned at the beginning, we're down maybe 1,000 officers. You both support expanding the LAPD? And then how do we pay for it though? Since to your point, we might need to ask for more money. So why don't you take the lead on that one? I mean, how do you expand the LAPD?
Sure. So Mayor Bass has already provided the resources for it. She provided it in her budget, and she provided for pay raises so that officers for LAPD are paid the same amount as surrounding jurisdictions. It was a critical piece in retaining officers and attracting officers. And my opponent voted against that pay increase. Yep. So that is a first important piece. But another important—
So that's an example of spending the city's money wisely.
It's a necessary, like we don't have a choice. Public safety, if the city has the fundamentals of the cities, they must provide public safety and infrastructure. Everything on top of that is just gravy. And if we fail at public safety and infrastructure, we fail as a city. And right now we are failing on both.
So could you explain your vote on the package of pay raises and bonuses of recruiting and retention?
I wanted to say that I work very closely with our PD, including Captain Vargas and many others. I have immense respect for our PD partners and work closely with them across all of the divisions that cover our district. And I believe in pay raises for city employees. Inflation has been through the roof. The rent is too damn high. Everyone deserves a pay raise. I thought this pay raise was designed to increase retention and to increase recruitment. And it was very, very high. Very high. And I thought that the size of the raise would be so much that it would create significant budget deficits going forward. It would cut into other essential services that we were providing that I hear from you every day are not being provided fast enough or well enough, and that it would actually not address issues related to recruitment and retention. And I will say so far, the data has proven me correct. We have a $250 million budget deficit, according to our last financial status report, that we're going to have to figure out how to work around. That means cuts to basic services for residents. And the second thing is that our last recruitment class is one of the smallest it's ever been for LAPD. It was just 22 people. So on both fronts, this raise seems to have not done what it was supposed to do. Again, I believe in raises for all of our city employees. I just didn't think this one was fiscally prudent, and I want to make sure that we're spending your money appropriately.
This is on November ballot, I believe, thinking ahead. What is the Taxpayer Protection Act that you come out against, I believe? That may not be on people's radar, but it's going to be one of those very controversial issues. Can you take like a minute to explain what the Taxpayer Protection Act is and what your opposition is to it?
So it is a act that is a ballot measure that was put on the ballot by collecting signatures, and it essentially says that in order to pass a new tax, and local governments here in the state of California have relatively few sources of revenue, and we, in order to find some of these additional revenues, this is not unique to Los Angeles, this is every city across California, have passed things like sales taxes like Measure H, which we all voted for, which provides hundreds of millions of dollars for homeless services, or other kinds of transfer taxes in order to fund things that our regular budgets aren't able to fund. What this Taxpayer Protection Act says is that in order to pass those taxes, you would have to get over 2/3 of the vote in order to pass them. As opposed to from residents.
Okay.
Yes.
So it makes it harder,
Now
it makes it harder to raise new taxes.
Yes, so like Measure ULA.
So why is
Measure
that?
H.
So why do you oppose that idea?
So we have actually generated new sources of revenue for things that our county and city government haven't been able to fund, like homeless services, or like building new homeless housing. Any of the progress that we've been able to make on these issues has really come about.
Does not require 2/3.
Has not required 2/3 and has come from these transfer taxes, which are usually like a small increase to your sales tax or something like that. And for me, that preserving that ability to have it happen through a 51% vote rather than a 66% vote is, I think it's important. Otherwise, we will continue. I said the big difference, for example, on the issue of homelessness is that we don't have enough shelter beds, right? Shelter beds are entirely funded at the local level. The federal government doesn't fund it. We will not be able to get people off the streets even in the short term, if we can't find funding for additional shelter through these kinds of efforts. And I think it really limits our capacity to act on the very big problems that we have, given the constraints that we face at the local level.
Have you spent any time looking at this issue?
Yeah.
I have a feeling you might have a different viewpoint.
Yeah, I'm gonna say something controversial right now. Your taxes are too damn high. And it is so frustrating to me because for so many politicians, the answer to all of our problems is give us more money. And when I look at our city budget's never been higher. Our county budget's never been higher. Our state budget's never been higher. And to look at that situation and say, you know what the problem is? We need more money, I think is outrageous. Yeah. And I make a commitment to you. I will never ask you to raise your taxes unless I can look you in the eye and tell you honestly, our city is spending your money well. And I'm not holding my breath for that day to ever come.